The old frozen computer. 205 at KSCO, Santa Cruz. We'll take a quick look at traffic. Not much going on. Roadways moving at the limit, including 117 and 101. Highway 9 still closed between Santa Cruz and Felton. Sunny skies today and clear overnight, low near 40 degrees. Up next, it's a Think Local First radio show with your host, Michael Olson. This is a pre-recorded show entitled Riders on a Storm from December 31st, 2016. Stand by. Special Riders on a Storm edition of Think Local First Radio was recorded during the storm of December 15, which left thousands of Central Coast residents without power and features PG&E troubleman Ralph Stormont and KSCO's Michael Olson. This broadcast is brought to you as a public service by staff of Life Natural Foods Market, a local favorite for over 40 years in Santa Cruz.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Well, folks, it's raining. No, it's pouring. And the power is going to be going. Hello, folks. Michael Olson here from Felton, California. I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting for a rendezvous with the PG&E troubleshooter. We're going to be heading off into the wilds of the Santa Cruz Mountains, Felton, Boulder Creek, Ben Lomond, and who knows where, chasing power outages. Big storm rolling through today. Weather Service is expecting it to rain up to a half inch an hour or more in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Winds up to 30 knots or 30 miles per hour, and we expect to be chasing some power outages. You know, folks, a number of years ago, I had the opportunity to visit PG&E's emergency center in San Francisco, and the ready room consisted of a lot of computer models and monitors and so on. But what really struck me was a giant situation map of PG&E's entire territory. And in that map, they would stick pins for wherever there was a power outage. And there was a pin stuck in Modesto and a pin stuck in Fresno and maybe one up by Sacramento. But, you know, when it got to Santa Cruz County, the map looked like a porcupine. There were so many pins sticking out of it. And that is the story of power in Santa Cruz County. We live on a narrow spit of land sandwiched between the San Andreas Fault and Great White Sharks. And we have lots of trees. And when the wind blows and the storms roll in, we have trouble. And so had a notion to stop by PG&E today and talked with Rob Morris, and he talked about how he's already brought in crews from all over Central California to assist the local PG&E folks in keeping the power up for us. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to go for a ride along and get a sense of what it's like to go off in these woods and chase power outages. So that's the mission that we're going to be going on, and hope you'll ride along with me. I am Michael Olson. This is KSCO Radio, local news and talk. That's us. And so we expect to have a little fun in the mountains with you in the rain and mud and chasing power outages. So please do stay tuned. Hey, folks, Michael Olson. I am back, and I am in the big blue truck. PG&E big blue truck. And I'm with
Ralph Stormont.
Ralph, how long have you been with PG&E?
Over 45 years.
45 years. So, well, we're looking at quite a storm blowing in today, and you've been gracious enough to let me ride along with you. What exactly do you do for PG&E in a storm situation like this?
Well, I'm a troubleman, so I'm the first responder. So, like, for instance, I just did a job on Hubbard Gulch in Ben Lomond, and it was what we call a 911 standby. The fire department was there. and we actually have an hour or less to get there when it's that situation. And when I went there, a tree was on our guy wire, pulled our pole over. Primary voltage of 21,000 volts was in the trees burning. So I de-energized it, made everything safe, and I had to type in what the crew's going to need up there and call our storm room, let them know what they need, and get a crew rolling up there to straighten that pole out and get it out of the tree so we could get those customers back on that we had to shut off because it was a hazard.
21,000 volts, that's a lot of trouble.
Yeah, 21,000 volts. Most of our system, that's what we have, is 21,000, most of it. Some of it's a little less, but it's all very high voltage.
Well, Ralph, we are looking like we're getting some rain here. It's coming down pretty good now, expected to be upwards of half an inch an hour through the evening here. What is it about Santa Cruz County that makes working at PG&E so much fun?
So much fun. Well, I love in the storms. Well, I do like being where the action is. It actually is fun. I like helping out on emergency situations. I love helping the customers. I usually show them everything I'm doing. They really appreciate that. You got to think quick and make sure everybody's safe. That's the number one thing. Make sure the public and the customers are safe, and of course we're safe.
But what role do all our beautiful trees play in your life?
Well, I live in Boulder Creek, and I live in the middle of a redwood forest, and you're right, they're beautiful. But yes, the trees, they actually go down year round. Some people think it's just the winter, but in the summer too. And right now they're going down left and right, and like I worked all last weekend. We had trees going down, breaking poles in half, taking wires down, blocking roads. And that was just last weekend when it wasn't even raining that hard. When it rains 5 to 6 inches up there in the valley, that's when we really start having the mountains and trees come down.
And that's when you go to work, right?
Yep. In fact, I have a job now, so we need to get going.
Okay, folks, where are we going? Which direction?
We're going, I have right here, we're going to Boulder Creek.
And we're on the road, folks. Keep you posted.
5 people are out.
5 people are out, way up in Boulder Creek. And we're going to go fix them. Okay, folks, we're back on the road, and I was just being given a tour of the technology that the PG&E folks use. Everything is wired together here pretty seamlessly via computer. Somebody makes a call into PG&E, and that call is routed straight to the troubleshooting trucks via computer. Our troubleshooter acknowledges it and responds to the work request right there on the scene. Lets PG&E know how long it's going to take for him to get there, and makes a complete estimate. So, and that call goes right back to the customer, so the customer knows how long it's going to take for PG&E to get there. Now, quick question: what role do cell phones play in the gathering and processing of information for you?
When I first got this job, it's called an outage OIS tag, and I get a text. And that way, if I'm out of my truck, I get the text, I go, oh, they gave me a job. Then I go to the computer and I have a job. Because, I may be up a pole, I may be on a roof, and that way I know, especially if it's an emergency. Like I did a job Sunday. It was time to eat. I hadn't eaten since breakfast, but we had a car wipe one of our poles out. 900 customers went out. So I got the text.
And then you called them out and said, wait till I'm done eating breakfast.
No, I did. I kind of complained. Said, at the end, it was one of those 911 standbys.
Yep.
Highway Patrol. And I said, no, I really need to eat. Can't you get somebody else? But, of course, they didn't. And I carry power bars for that reason. We don't always get to eat, on time. It's just part of our job. So then I ran over there, and sure enough, completely wiped out a primary pole with 21,000 volts on it on the ground. 900 people out. Well, within 45 minutes, I had everybody on except 21 customers. See, that's what I do. I isolate it, make it safe first, isolate it, and then get as many people on as we can.
I don't suppose it'd be a good idea to grab a 21,000 watt power line when it was down, right?
That is no. And up here in the mountains, we have a lot of trees that are on our wires, and these cowboys get out and start cutting on the trees. But if somebody has a generator, it could backfeed right through the transformer and come back out primary, and they could get hurt, seriously injured. And see, we're not even allowed to touch it until a crew grounds it. That way, that can't come hot where the tree crew is. Even our tree crews can't go in there and start cutting on the tree. It has to be grounded. So, yes, everybody needs to stay away from our lines, just period.
And, of course, when you're doing all of this, the weather's nice and sunny, and there's not a cloud in the sky, and there's no wind, right?
No, usually it's night and windy and rainy.
Okay, Ralph was describing how with the new smart meters, people don't even have to report power outages to PG&E. How does that work, Ralph?
Well, the smart meters are there's antennas every so many poles, and it relays from one antenna to the other. And then when the power goes out, we get outage tags that say smart meter generated, so we know where the people are out and how many people are out, just by their smart meter. Without them, they don't even need to call in.
So is this troubleshooting we're on right now a smart meter report?
No, this customer called. I think one of them called, and it's 5 customers are out. I believe 1 called and 4 say smart meter generated.
So then you pretty much know where it's at, who's affected. Does it give you any idea of what the problem could be?
It does if the customer says there's a wire down or there's a tree down, but otherwise, no. The smart meters don't do that, or we wouldn't know unless they tell us. We just know, all we know is their power is out.
Well, you've been driving the roads up here in the San Lorenzo Valley for a long time. Have you seen any increase in the traffic over the last 45 years?
Yes, I have. A lot of traffic. I've actually lived in Boulder Creek since 74, and quite a bit more traffic. But not as much up here, more Santa Cruz, especially Highway 1. I'm glad they're going to try to fix that. I mean, I'll get a fire that I can't even get to because Highway 1 is so backed up. I'm glad they're going to try to at least alleviate that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, those of us in radio, though, we're kind of for narrowing the freeway. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You know, keep people in the car longer so they listen to the radio more?
Well, yeah, that does make sense. I get you there. And, yeah, you'd think I'd be fine because I'm usually on overtime, but I don't know, I want to get out there and fix the customer's power or get the people on or get to the fire or whatever, and it's frustrating sitting there like that.
Well, you know, you are on time when the weather's bad. It doesn't matter what your time is. You have to be the one that's out there troubleshooting, right?
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot of problems in our area. Our area is so big. We go way past Davenport all the way to Highway 101 down there, Paso Romas, and all the way to Summit. So we have a huge area we take care of.
On the way, Boulder Creek. So that's a good observation on the way up to Boulder Creek. Do some troubleshooting with PG&E. Michael Olson here with Ralph. Ralph, what is the difference in rainfall between like Boulder Creek and Santa Cruz?
Yes, it rains a lot more up in the valley in Ben Loma and Boulder Creek and Felton. It rains longer and much heavier, much bigger raindrops. But as you can see right here, look how heavy this rain is.
And as the light starts to fade, losing some light here late in the afternoon, get a lot of headlights in that, bouncing off that pavement, got to keep paying attention to this stuff. And I guess you know, as a troubleshooter, you always have to pay attention, don't you?
Yes, I do. And speaking of driving, what's hard is we'll have fuses blown on primary, and then we have to try to patrol the line. So I'm looking up, holding a light, and look where I'm going all the same time. But you go super, super slow, of course, when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel you can do it safely, then you need to get another guy to drive for you. But most of the time, I'm on roads I feel safe, and I'm going real slow, and I'm able to do that.
So most of the time, you're troubleshooting on your own?
Yes. 95% of the time, I'm out here by myself.
Have you ever had a situation where you weren't by yourself?
Well, yeah, sometimes we have to team up. The big outages, when we get like 50, 100 customers, we usually get two of us because there's so much line to look at. It speeds up the process. And then other times we'll have services through trees. We got to put a new one up, and it takes two guys. One guy can't do that by himself.
Have you ever found yourself in a very dangerous situation? It seems like all of the situations are dangerous, but have you ever found yourself in a situation that may be a little too dangerous?
Yes, you're right. It is all dangerous. And believe me, I keep myself cut in and tailboard myself and double check everything I'm doing, especially by myself. Because one mistake is all it takes, and everything could go awry. But, well, yeah, years ago I was in a cross-phase explosion that really was nobody's fault.
Now, wait a minute. A cross-phase explosion? What is that?
That's where the primary two wires get together, different phases. That's the biggest, really, arc or explosion we could have is a cross-phase. It's called two different phases, like phase A and phase B get together. It's really a huge arc. And I was in a double bucket with another lineman, and we instantly dove down to the bottom of the bucket, made ourselves about 6 inches big, and we were okay. And turned out a car hit a pole down the road and wrapped the wire together, and when we closed it in, that's what happened. So it was no fault of ours, but our quick thinking and diving to the bottom of the buckets saved our life, really.
Now, you say a bucket. Now, what exactly do you mean by a bucket?
That's like what's on my truck. That's what we go up in the air with. And when I was young, we climbed most of their poles with the hooks, but now most everybody has bucket trucks.
So when you say you were in the bucket with another guy, a double bucket, and you were up there, and all of a sudden you had that explosion, and all of a sudden you had to find yourself, make yourself very small in the bottom. What happened? How did you get out of that?
What happened was we were putting a jumper on to heat it up, and like I said, a few half a block away or so, a car hit a guy wire, and that wire wrapped, and nobody knew it was wrapped. And it goes from horizontal to vertical, and when you look at it, it looks wrapped anyway. It's like an optical illusion. So we didn't know it was wrapped. And then we put the jumper on, it was a cross phase. We're trying to jumper out the same phase, and that was very big arc there. And but nobody did get hurt, and like I said, and we're still guessing that the wire was crossed there. We saw burn marks on the wire. We think when it cross-phased, it actually came back apart, unwrapped. So we never really found anything wrong, and then closed it many hours later after checking everything, and it held. Everything came on. Sometimes that happens, too. It's kind of like a phenomenon. Electricity, nobody really understands it. It does weird things.
Well, maybe somebody like Tesla understood it, I guess, huh? But
yeah, he was a genius. Tesla, I think he was trying to make electricity go through the air. Or he did.
Well, we made it all the way to Brookdale here, and traffic is moving really slow. Everybody's got their headlights on and their windshield wipers flashing. And there's something about the redwoods in the rain. It's very peaceful out there. But, the power lines don't just follow the road. So what happens when something goes awry off in the woods?
I hike it. I hike way up. Big Basin's a prime example. Big Basin Park. I've hiked all the way to the top to the mountain, along the ridge, to where the canyon is, and our line goes across the canyon, and hike back down, drive way around the other way, and hike that ridge to where I get on the other side of the same canyon to make sure. We got to make sure there's no wire down when fuses blow. Otherwise, we could start a fire, and we don't want to do that. So we never, ever test fuses without looking at the complete line, no matter how much we got to walk it out. We want to be safe.
That means you're walking in the woods.
Yes. I walked in these woods many, many, many times. I just, just the other night, what's today? Tuesday night. We were in Corralitos, and the fuse was blown, and I had to hike half a mountain checking out the line to make sure it was in the clear before we tried to turn it back on.
Well, it is coming down now.
You are listening to a ride-along into the storm broadcast between PG&E Troubleman Ralph Stormont and KSCO's Michael Olson. This recording took place during the storm of December 15 and is brought to you as a public service by Think Local First, County of Santa Cruz, and by staff of Life Natural Foods Market, a Santa Cruz favorite for over 40 years.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm.
Okay, folks, we're just pulling into Boulder Creek here. It is raining really good here. And so we're pulling over in front of the Boulder Creek Veterinary Clinic, and we're going to call the customer and let him know. What purpose is that?
Well, I would like them to know that I'm coming, and sometimes they could give me a clue of why the power's out. They may say, oh, there's a tree branch on the wires in front of my house, and that means either a transformer fuse or a wire down or something, but it gives me a better clue of what the reason they could be out of power.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be out there in a few minutes, and do you know if your neighbors are out, or you know if there's wire down or anything, please?
I'm actually not there. My mom's there, and she didn't see a downed power line.
Okay. All right. I'll be there in a couple minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, kind of a courtesy call and let them know you're coming. And have you ever run into so many really bad dogs? I mean, this is the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Believe me, yes, I have. They could really scare the heck out of you. Some of our guys even carry dog biscuits. That helps a little bit. I always just make a heck of a lot of noise. Or that's why I call the customer. I say, do you have dogs? And they always say, oh, we'll put them away or whatever. But if I get there and there are dogs, I just get back in the truck fast as I can go. But I've had a couple times they've really scared me. But I beat them to my truck.
Well, Boulder Creek is looking really soggy, but really happy. It kind of looks like a sweet little mountain town that it is. Almost like it's in another state, Boulder Creek. So there's Boulder Creek, and then there's Boulder Creek. So the actual village of Boulder Creek isn't very big, but the community of Boulder Creek is kind of huge, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Boulder Creek is huge. It goes, all the way to Big Basin Park, and then you got Waterman Gap, and then way up Bear Creek Road. And, Boulder Creek is very large.
Well, we're now past the village of Boulder Creek, heading deeper into the mountains. Getting darker and darker as we move along, and rain's getting heavier and heavier, starting to wash across the roads. And have you ever run into a situation where there's just too much water to get past?
Oh, I've been trapped. I was trapped Smith Grade Road one year. The giant culvert that goes under Smith Grade gave way, so it just caved in, and I couldn't get out. They even brought me food. But yeah, we get trapped by trees too.
Well, I suppose so. You pull into a small road, and if there's a storm, a tree falls down behind you. Do you carry chainsaws?
Yes, I do. In fact, it happened to me recently in Big Basin Park. Big Basin Highway, I went in there and I came back and a tree come down behind me. I couldn't get out, but I knew a back way and I barely made it out that way. Made it back to Big Basin way that way, lower, below the tree. And then another tree was down. I had to cut it out of the way to get back to Boulder Creek.
Is every job an adventure?
Yes, it is. Every one of them is an adventure. Everyone's different. Of course, the storm mode we're in now is totally different than a normal day. But even normal days, every job is different.
So we just pulled off the main road and headed down a little road, and it says one-lane bridge, and that's exactly what it is. It's a one-lane bridge going across the creek. And, the creek is moving. There's water in it. Water's pouring into the creek, too, so... And we're on a little narrow road way up into the woods, and look at all the houses in here. It must be, I don't know, how many... 50 houses in this little...
They have a lot of places up there that were like summer homes for people in San Francisco. Yeah. And now they're full-time residences. Oh, look at all this water pouring out of these mountains. Woohoo!
Driving up the road next to the creek here.
Those are fuses. Yeah.
Looking at the wires.
On the back side, you see those spiral things, and there's a gray door. That's a fuse. So if you see that down, then we have a blown fuse.
Going deeper and deeper into the woods here, folks, and there's just houses everywhere. It's really hard to imagine. You look at the woods and you can't see the houses, but when you drive off into the woods, there's houses everywhere in here.
We're on River Road.
River Road, it's called. So this is an old road that followed the river, I guess. That would be.
The river's right there.
The river's right down below us here. We're right above it, and then the river's just building up pretty good up here in Boulder Creek. It looks like we're gonna wash out that riverbed, and you're starting to see rocks on the road. Yep.
The slide. See?
So yep, there it is. Yeah.
Slide right now.
So.
Woo, I hope we can get out.
Hillside's coming down. It's okay, you got power bars here. We can stay for a while, right?
Yeah, I do. I got a whole bunch of power bars. Well, yeah, I worked in 82 up here. That's when Love Creek happened. And that was probably the biggest storm I worked in. But another big one I worked in was 74, the snowstorm. But that was incredible. People were out of power.
Snow in the Santa Cruz Mountains?
Yeah, more up higher by Skyline, but it stayed for 2 weeks. And the trees were crashing. They're not made for snow, these trees. And it was louder than thunder. I was one of the first crews in the snow up there. We put one span of wire up and 3 go down, and they said, get out of there before someone gets hurt. But that first night it happened. That big, it snowed like 2 feet, I think, maybe more. And it stayed for 2 weeks.
What was the 82 Love Creek storm like?
Oh, that was the worst I ever seen up here.
Yeah, right now we've got water just pouring down the road here. They call it River Road for a good reason, I guess, because that's what it looks like.
No, you're right. Yeah, 82, it snowed. Snowed. I got it mixed up with my snowstorm. It rained like 25 inches, 30 inches in one day, and then the mountains just came down all over. And I got trapped in Boulder Creek myself. The river was actually going over Highway 9.
Yeah. Well, folks, we're way down deep in the woods now.
My address now.
And
150 Azalea.
And we're on Azalea Circle. So this is still River Road, I think.
Yeah, Azalea Circle will be right up here.
Uh-huh. And so it's deep in the woods of the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Yeah.
Well, we see the problem, all right. We're right here at the beginning of Azalea Circle, and we're looking up the hill, and there's a transformer with a fuse blown, which is...
How's that for troubleshooting?
That's pretty good. Two blown fuses. Now, what causes them to blow?
That's what we're going to find out, but we may have wire down, or we may have a tree in it. Either one would cause those fuses to blow. But I just got here, I saw them blown, now I'm going to troubleshoot why they're blown.
Okay, it looks like a walk in the woods, folks. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, here we are. So we've made a preliminary search. What did we find, Ralph?
Okay, so I found 2 fuses blown on the transformer, which means something happened to the secondary. It's open wire, bare secondary. 1 span away, a big tree branch hit it, and 2 different locations, the secondary is wrapped. That's why these fuses are blown. Now I'm going to drive down, unwrap the secondary in the 2 places, come back to the transformer, put 2 new fuses in, and get these 5 people, get their power back on.
So they'll be able to watch football tonight.
That's correct. Oh, I forgot there was football. And also what I'm going to do is put down on my computer estimated time of restoration. I'll probably put an hour, and I'll put transformer outage. They will get an automatic phone call when I do that. So it's a good system.
So you'll be able to tell everybody exactly what's going on,
yes,
without having to tell everybody exactly what's going on.
Exactly. I'm just going to punch in estimated time of restoration, and I'll put the cause, tree branch, and then I'll put it's a transformer outage, and the customers will get a phone call because of that, telling them no power will be on within an hour, which it will be.
And there will be happy people in the Santa Cruz Mountains with power. But given the storm, have you ever had a situation where you fix somebody and you get a call again and said we're out again?
Yes. Oh, yes. Or, in fact, that just happened. I had, it was in Santa Cruz on the west side off of Pelton, a street off Pelton. The primary fuse was blown. I patrolled it, saw nothing wrong. I refused it, and it held. I took amp, so that shows everybody's on, and I went way up to Mill Creek and Davenport off Swanton Road. I was up there for hours. I got that job done, came back, and then I had another complete out on that same street. I go, wait a minute, I already got them on. Go back there, and sure enough, 1 transformer was bad. So I had to call for a crew to replace it.
And when the transformer's bad, the transformer's bad.
Yes, it was old transformer, probably from the 60s or 70s, and it went bad.
So that's a different crew then, right?
Yeah, the crews are line crews. I'm a troubleman. I'm out there by myself. If I could fix one like this one without wire down or a bad transformer, I'll fix it. But if this transformer would be bad that I'm at, then I have to type everything in, make a tag for a crew, then call. In this case, I'd call the storm room because we have a storm. Explain to them what the crew needs. They see what I typed in there, and a lot of times I'll also make a map and write on the map and send it to their printer, and then they send a crew out to replace the transformer.
Well, let's go down there and fix them up. Right. And don't forget, and as you're backing down, don't forget that river down there. Because it's roaring right near, folks.
Later, when we come back, I got to back up to that pole.
Yeah, so are you a good backer upper?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So right there's the tree that came down. They hit our 3 wires right there. But I walked it out, and then over here, it's wrapped together. So if I try to put a transformer fuse in now, they'd blow.
They blow.
Because it's wrapped 2 different places. It's secondary. So I could go up with my bucket truck safely and unwrap it.
So what makes it safe for you to go up there with your bucket and unwrap it?
Well, one is de-energized. So the power's off right now. So that's why it's safe. And secondary, I can do hot anyway with rubber gloves. We wear rubber gloves to work secondary.
But the primary is 21,000.
Yeah, we don't rubber glove that in the rain, and as a troubleman, I don't rubber glove it, but the crews do. But I can use hot sticks on the primary if I have a minor thing to do, but most primary work is done by line crews. Well,
So we're looking for where the wires are wrapped in these.
it's almost harder this time of night than when it's dark, you know.
We're driving down this little lane here, folks, and the wire is just kind of strung through the trees here.
Yes.
There's branches everywhere. It's just kind of
It's wrapped here.
the wires are just going. Yep, so I can kind of see where it's wrapped there. Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to turn around.
So we're looking at places where the wires are wrapped, and then that's how they short out, right? And they're wrapped like that?
Yes, that's why the transformer fuse is blue. And the tree is what caused it to wrap.
It was an act of nature.
Yep, but I'm going to fix it. And I'll get these people back on.
So what we're trying to do is turn around this big, huge blue PG&E bucket truck on a little half-lane road in the mountains, and so in the rain and the falling light. But at least we have a backup light or a backup camera, and they do help. So we've got the spotlight on, and now for the bucket, right?
Yep, I'm going up. I'm going up in the bucket and unwrap this secondary conductor.
Bucket time, folks. So we're strapping on a big harness here. We're going to lasso ourselves onto the bucket.
That's correct. I got to wear this harness every time I go up.
So we're looking up at the wires, and oh yeah,
Now, if I close those fuses in now, boom, they
blow.
Yeah, exactly.
So we see the secondary wires, the service lines are wrapped together and shorted out, and that's what caused everything to blow. So, and they're up there in the trees, by golly.
I got good eyesight there.
You have good eyesight. That's good. It's good to have good eyesight. And to be in physical, you were talking about you're being quite an athlete for a 63-year-old, right?
Yep.
Now, does that help in this job?
Oh, yes, it does. We have to hike these mountains, sometimes straight up the mountain for miles, actually, tracing out the lines. Like I said, there's no way we're going to close the line in without knowing that there's no wire down, especially in these mountains. I'm not starting Boulder Creek on fire.
No. Well, it wouldn't be bad today, but...
No, that's true.
Yeah.
You got a point there.
Okay, so here goes Ralph up in the troubleshooter, up the trouble man. Does your wife ever call you a trouble man?
Calls me Sparky.
Ralph's wife has a way of calling him Sparky. We'll wonder why. So, here we are. Oh, my goodness. It is wet in the woods. We're way down here, pretty close to the river. I don't think anybody's home. It doesn't look like anybody's home here. And the river is rising, and Ralph is too. He's rising right up in a PG&E bucket, and he's going to go up and unwrap some wires up there. The sound of Ralph heading up in the woods here to untangle the wires. What'd you see up there?
The wire's black here where it arcs. The wire's okay. Doesn't need repair, but I can see that it arcs right here. I still don't have it unwrapped. And I'm going to put another spreader. See, there's a spreader to keep these wires apart.
Do the wires ever burn together?
What was that?
Do the wires ever burn together?
Yeah, no, they do, but they weren't here.
You are listening to a ride-along into the storm broadcast between PG&E Troubleman Ralph Stormont and KSCO's Michael Olson. This recording took place during the storm of December 15 and is brought to you as a public service by Think Local First, County of Santa Cruz, and by staff of Life Natural Foods Market, a Santa Cruz favorite for over 40 years.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm.
Oh my goodness, folks, I'm standing in front of the PG&E truck here and looking down at the river. I just looked at about 15 minutes ago, and it looks like it's almost doubled in size. So we're going to be cleaning out the San Lorenzo River drainage, I suspect. And now we're going to see him back up the road here, and I'm going to follow in the mud. And there is a lot of mud. Okay, we're up under the transformer here, and in the rain, Ralph successfully backed the truck up. I don't know how, but it's here, and so we get back in the bucket now, Ralph?
I'm getting back in the bucket. First, I got to see what size fuses I need. This size transformer, get the fuses go up.
Stepping in the side of the road here, I noticed that.
Now, be careful.
Yeah, boy, it's just like mush. And here we're on this big giant PG&E truck. You ever slide off a road, Ralph? Never slid off a road. Good for you. Ralph is in the truck right now. We're checking out the chart. Different kinds of fuses for different kinds of places. How do you keep track of it all? You got a big clipboard of information. You have to check out every one of them, right?
Right. I'm trying to see what fuse size I need for this transformer, and I can't remember all the sizes. There's too many different voltages of primary and transformers and so on and so forth. So I carry this with me on my main clipboard so I could get it easily. And I look, this is 12 kV, 25 kVA transformer. Says go to column B. So I look down here, 25 kVA, and I got to know the type fuse. And it's ELF dropout, like I told you, 25. Takes a 6 amp fuse. Bam. Now I know what size.
Up the bucket again.
Yep.
Okay, Ralph's getting ready to go up the pole here in his bucket, and he's got earmuffs. He's got a headlamp. He's got a hot stick. What are the earmuffs for, Ralph?
So when I test this transformer, if the fuse blows, it's very loud and it won't hurt my ears.
Well, maybe I'll plug my ears then.
Yeah. I think the wire's all clear. I think we're going to be good, but you never know.
Okay. You never know. Okay, Ralph's got all of his equipment ready to go. He found the fuses in the last place he looked, imagine that. And he's got his bucket loaded up, got all of his gear together. He's getting ready to go up in the rain to the transformer way up top there. And it is coming down, folks. It is raining in Boulder Creek, and it is really raining. So Ralph's got a hot stick now. He's going to be using the hot stick to reach up and change the transformer. And there's wires everywhere in these trees. It's just incredible to see this. Oh, my goodness. And there's guy wires and telephone wires and power wires and... Okay, what's it look like up there, Ralph?
Morning.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I got to pull the old ones out, put the new ones in, then I'll tell you right before I close them.
Okay. He's got to pull the old ones out now and put the new ones in. Just like you do at home, folks. Except he's 50 foot up in a power pole and amidst 200-foot trees. What'd you say?
My glasses are getting foggy.
Yeah, I wonder why. Good thing you have good eyesight, though. Looks like the fuses, the blown fuses up there, are just kind of dangling. So he's got to put a new one in now. And he uses his hot stick to do all this work. So he's looking up in the rain. It's just pouring down in his face. And putting the fuses in. Yes, and the rain's coming down here, folks, in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Okay, we're going to test the transformers. I'm going to plug my ears now, just in case. on one. He's got one transformer replaced, and we're going for the other one now. Or one fuse replaced, sorry. Hard to think when the rain's pouring down your face. They're on. Lights are on in the village, in the little Sleepy Hollow down here next to the river in Boulder Creek. And I smell electricity. There they are. Lights are on. Just as simple as that, folks. Power goes out and PG&E comes out and fixes it. Just like that. So the rain's pouring off the mountain now. River's rising like crazy. And the night is just beginning for Trouble Man Ralph. So we'll be going on to the next call. So no problems, huh?
Nope, power's restored. It all worked out. Got the wire unwrapped, got new fuses in the transformer, and we got 120, 240 volts. We're good.
Good to go. Well, folks can watch football tonight, right?
Yeah, too bad I can't. No.
Well, I suspect you're going to have a long night of it, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we'll probably be out here till like 8 in the morning.
Okay, folks, we just finished that. That was easy.
Well, yeah, that was one of my easier jobs. You're right.
I guess easy. Didn't look all that easy, but you handled it really quickly, and you gave them power back in an hour. They're watching football. Life is good. But what's this? Another call just came in?
Well, I'm looking on my phone, and it says I was dispatched an order for 5,272 customers out. So I got to open my computer, see where it is.
Holy smokes, 5,000 customers out on one power outage.
Yeah.
Just offhand, what would you guess that's to
I
be?
would guess there's a tree down, maybe a pole down, and it went all the way back to the substation. It locked out the breaker in the substation.
So this is not a small job at all, then.
This is on East Zyanny Road.
Oh.
Yep.
And up in the Zyanny Canyon area, huh?
Yes. Why in the heck do we have that many people out? Wow, I can't believe it. Well, we better get rolling.
Here we go, folks. So, Ralph, there's that was one call right there we just did. You got another one. We just took care of 5 households. You have another call online for 5,000 households.
Yep.
And when I talked with Mr. Morris today, he suggested that there might be 30 power outages with this storm.
30? 30 an hour?
30 an hour, you think?
No, not really, but there's going to be more than 30.
There's going to be more than 30 of these calls. So how many people are doing, how many of you are there?
Oh, right now there's a lot. Santa Cruz, there's probably 6 Santa Cruz told we brought out area guys.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how many.
So with every major storm, PG&E Santa Cruz brings in an army of people from everywhere.
From Salinas, from Monterey, San Jose, San Carlos, even Fresno. We bring them in.
Do they like to come into Santa Cruz and work in this?
No, they do not. They drive around lost, and they don't like hiking all these mountains. I love it.
That's why they call you the Trouble Man. Trouble Man Ralph.
All right.
Away we go here.
I want to get out of this muddy road. Let's see. We'll go downtown so I can figure all this stuff out. Get rid of this job. See where I'm going on the next one.
A lot of paperwork with each job?
No, it's all here.
Oh.
I do keep a log just for me, but it's all here. All on the computer. All on our GTAC computer. Now, I just want to get out of this muddy little road, and I'll probably have to call our DO because this is such a big outage. And he'll tell me where he wants me to go on this 5,000 some customer outage. But we'll go get a bunch of people on there.
So that'll more likely be a job that you have to bring in a lot of people on.
That'll probably be a job for a line crew.
And what is the difference then between a line crew and a trouble man? Well, you're a trouble man's just a sole operator. You're out here by yourself in this big blue truck fixing everything by yourself that you can. What does a line crew do?
They do the bigger jobs. For instance, wires down, primary wire or secondary, they put it up. Broken cross arms, bad transformers, they'll replace the transformer. Broken pole, they'll put a new pole up. So that's a line crew. They have line trucks where they can dig and set poles, and they have bigger bucket trucks that go higher, and so on and so forth.
Bigger crew, bigger jobs.
Yeah.
Does this truck have? Yeah.
Here now.
I was just going to ask if this truck has pontoons.
This is crazy.
So we have our spotlight turned on to see what the water's like. And see where the road is now.
See, I traced out the line just at night. But see, that's what I was telling you. I got to look at the road, look at the line, look at the road, look at the line. Oh, shoot, there's the tree branch. Or shoot, there's the wire down, see?
So you're just following the wires all the way out.
It's probably what we're going to do on the one we're headed for.
Is look for wires down, right?
Wires down, trees down, trees on the line. Yes, that's what I'll be looking for on the next one. But like I said, we're going to get out of here, and then I have to pull over and complete this job, and then go en route to that one, and then see if there's a hazard on there. Sometimes it'll say, one tag will be hazard, and it'll say tree down or wire down. I got to look for that. Or I'll call the DO and ask him exactly where he wants me to go. Our DO is in, he's actually in Concord.
What's a DO?
A DO is, he's the one that tells us when we're switching or isolating lines. He's the one looking at the maps. Yeah, you could open line recloser here, or you could open cutouts, fuses here.
Kind of like a conductor, right?
Yes. Yes, he's our DO. He's the one that, right, we might have, like this one here, we probably have 2 or 3 guys going to this outage. And we may be able to isolate around it once we find the problem. He'll tell which troubleman to go where, open this switch. You go, Ralph, you go open this switch over here. Mike, you go open the switch over here. So see what, and then we could feed from the back way and get as many people on as we can.
Yeah, so you isolate the trouble and open it up for everybody else.
But the DO is the one that orchestrates it. You are correct. That's basically it. He's the one. He'll write up the switch log. He'll write up the steps. He'll tell us where we're going and what we're doing.
Okay, folks, Michael Olson here, riding along with Ralph Storment, who is a PG&E trouble man, which means when there's trouble, he goes. And we just went, and we're in the middle of a big storm here in Santa Cruz County, Central Coast. They're predicting up to 5 inches of rain tonight. It's coming down in torrents. We're in Boulder Creek, and there's water everywhere.
It's out. We're out of power.
Well, there it is, folks. You just heard it. Trouble Man Ralph's out of power at home, too. Just got a call from his wife. What do you say on a night like this when your wife calls and says when you're coming home?
Maybe tomorrow.
You've been tuned in to a Ride Along Into the Storm broadcast between PG&E Troubleman Ralph Storment and KSCO's Michael Olson. The recording took place during the storm of December 15 and has been brought to you as a public service by Think Local First County of Santa Cruz and by staff of Life Natural Foods Market, a Santa Cruz favorite for over 40 years. The entire recording, along with photos, will be featured at KSCO.com. That's KSCO.com.
Riders on the storm.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
Of Iraq and Syria, in other words, ISIS. I think it's going to be very successful.
It orders the Joint Chiefs to come up with a plan within 30 days. ISIS has already begun using Mr. Trump's action on immigration as propaganda. A former Baylor University student who says she was raped by 2 football players at the school now alleges that other players are responsible for attacks on dozens of women. KRLD radio reporter Austin York.
The lawsuit alleges at least 52 rapes by more than 30 football players over a 4-year period. The lawsuit by former student Elizabeth Doe alleges a culture of sexual violence and describes her 2013 gang rape attack. It doesn't detail the others, but says some of the attacks were actually recorded by the